Welcome back to NFL Fantasy Live. It's time to check in with our dear friend, NFL Network insider Tom Pelissero, joining us on Fantasy Live. A rough one for the 49ers as Brandon Ayuk tears ligaments in his knee. He's going to miss the remainder of the season, Tom. But there was another 49er, a big part of the offense on the sideline. What can you tell us about Deebo?
Patrick, it feels like every ailment possible has hit the 49ers. Now you can add pneumonia to the list. That is what Kyle Shanahan says was going on with Deebo Samuel, a form of pneumonia that had him struggling to breathe both before and during the game. They added him to the injury report shortly before kickoff, said he was going to be able to play. He wasn't able, though, to stay on the field very long. Then ended up in the hospital overnight. There's no long-term concerns at this point for Deebo Samuel, but anybody coming off a respiratory illness knows it may take a little bit of time to fully get your wind back. Bit of good news for the 49ers this week. Shanahan said they do anticipate getting Juwan Jennings back onto the field. Finally, after he's been dealing with a hip injury for the past couple of weeks, that is extra significant when you consider the fact they will not have Ayuk. They may or may not have Deebo at full strength. They were playing without their top three wide receivers last week, but Juwan Jennings nearing a return to the field. Tight end George Kittle, why not add him to the list? He is now dealing with a foot sprain. Did not sense a great deal of alarm from Kyle Shanahan on that injury, but it's one more to monitor through the course of this week. And, of course, the biggest injury on the entire list, Christian McCaffrey, who has not played this season because of his Achilles issues, also not going to play on Sunday against the Cowboys. However, Kyle Shanahan continues to say there's been no setbacks this time around for Christian McCaffrey since he made that trip to Germany here. November 10th against the Buccaneers, Shanahan pointed to as potentially the date that finally McCaffrey could be back on the field.
Yeah, now, Tom, obviously it is a big deal for this offense to not have Ayuk the rest of the season, to miss Deebo Samuel. But last week we did see them get a couple of their rookies on the field. Ricky Pearsall finally able to play. He had his first catch. Jacob Cowan got out there as well. So there is some hope for fantasy managers kind of looking at who maybe have Brock Purdy and are worried about him. There are some guys to get off the waiver wire. We'll see if Pearsall continues to get targets. We'll see how often they use Jacob Cowan. But I do think Juwan Jennings going to be a nice option if he's floating around there on the waiver wire. We saw him play well early in the season. I expect him to get a lot of targets coming up again this week against the Cowboys.
Yeah, I hope a valuable resource right now. They would like to have some down in New Orleans, Tom, where the season kind of taking a turn for the worse. They do have multiple injuries at receiver. They go and get some help in the form of a veteran. What can you tell us there?
That's right, Patrick. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, who was released 1 week ago after the Bills acquired Amari Cooper, went to New Orleans on Monday for a visit and workout. He is signing with the Saints. Now, this is significant because a good deal of the production, especially when the Saints were playing well those first couple of weeks of the season, was on the deep passing game. It was the shot plays to Rashid Shaheed down the field. Rashid Shaheed now out for the remainder of the season. Marquez Valdes-Scantling figures to slot in very much to that role. They also, should you would anticipate, get Chris Olave back after he missed the last game in the concussion protocol on a short week. With MVS, though, that is now your primary field stretch option, especially if Derek Carr is able to get back into the lineup, or even if it's Spencer Rattler, who Dennis Allen has said will continue to start while Carr is out. If they're going to continue to take those shots, they've been a big part of what they've done well with Clint Kubiak calling the plays. It'll now be MVS trying to haul those balls in down the field.
It was a valuable fantasy offense at the start of the season. We'll see if MVS helps them get back into that category. Thanks for your help today on this edition of NFL Fantasy Live. Got the insiders coming up later on today on NFL Network with Tom Pelissero.